Hello, everybody. Something that's been flowing around in my mind this week, especially around the solstice, has been around light and dark, the balance of both. Um, you know, how in the northern hemisphere it is the summer solstice, and the southern hemisphere it is the winter solstice. And it was, I tell you what triggered my feeling around what I'm going to talk about is that I kept seeing posts on social media about the light. So either in the southern hemisphere, people are welcoming in the light. It's interesting because the sun is starting to really shine into the room now as I'm talking. But yeah, so in the southern hemisphere, we are welcoming in the light. We are going into having longer days, more light. And in the northern hemisphere, you're welcoming in, you are saying goodbye to the light. This is what I'm seeing a lot of on social media. So you're not saying goodbye to it, but it's now you're going into longer days. But it's all about the light. So look how my face is in dark and light. Very interesting how the weather and the nature around us reflects and brings in messages around what it is that we're talking about. So the reason I'm talking about this is that I've seen nobody welcoming in the shadow or honoring the shadow. I mean, maybe you are, maybe I just haven't seen them, but this is something that's of interest to me, that everybody focuses on either welcoming in the light or thanking the light, and but nobody's actually, from what I've seen, honoring the dark, honoring the shadow, honoring going into winter, honoring and calling in that cave time, that dream time, that time where we go into the death, the time when we go into letting go of dying to all parts of ourselves that are no longer required. And very often in our collective, what we do is we're chasing the light, we're chasing the sun, we're chasing what feels good, because what feels good is anything other than death. For many people, anything other than death feels good. And quite often, well, not quite often, but always, any fear that we experience in life, if you look at the absolute root of that fear, it's about the fear of death. And so as a collective, we are so scared of death. We are so scared of losing that sense of control and going into the shadow, unconscious spaces of ourselves, that we want to keep chasing the light and we want to keep feeling that sense of aliveness, which is beautiful. And we love the light, and we are so honored to have the sun and the light and that yang energy in our world. But how much do we actually honor the yin energy? How much do we honor the feminine, the dark, the shadow, the unconscious, the one that is comfortable being in the pain and in the loss and in that space of, one might call depression or shadow, or I'm not doing too much because I need to go within to feel what's going on within me, rather than running away and running towards the light all the time. So there's nothing wrong with running towards the light. And of course, we need to be doing that as well. We need the balance of both. And the light brings us so much hope and joy and warmth and comfort. But so can the dark, so can the shadow, because in the shadow is where all the aspects of ourself that we have denied, all those parts of ourself that we have hidden away from ourselves, sit. And those aspects of ourself hold, many times will hold the gifts of what our soul brought into this world to share with others. And so if we can get comfortable, it's interesting how the light just changed as well now. I feel like it's gone into darkness again now. We've got to find this dance, like what the nature around me is telling me right now. We've got to find this dance between both. And when we find the dance between both and the balance between both the light and the dark, that's when we're walking in the non-duality, you know, this, which is our nature. Our nature is being non-dual. It's not about light and dark. It's not about left and right, yin and yang and all that. Yes, we have to experience that in this world because that's the way this dimension has been created. But we're here to supersede that. We're here to transcend even the light and the dark. And the only way that we transcend that illusion of separation is when we honor both of them in balance. And as we honor both of them in balance, it's like a man and a woman coming together, love making, becoming one. They become one. And that results in the surrender deep into the being of, which is like the Buddhists would call that the middle way, the heart center, going into the space that knows no duality. And this is the original essence of what you are. So let's honor both. Let's not be afraid of the shadow. Don't be afraid of the feminine. Don't be afraid of her deep power to transform and to take you back into yourself. And she will, if you let her, she'll really take you back into yourself. But don't be afraid of her, because she'll also really hold that space for you in a deep and nurturing and powerful way, just like the earth does, the mother, the earth, the divine mother in the earth. Don't be afraid of her. Go into her. Welcome her in. In Northern Hemisphere, you're going into your dark time in, you know, now and in a few months' time when summer is over. Welcome that. That feels like that's the end of the transmission. There's no other information coming through around that, but I'm glad that I spoke about that, and it's been something that has, yeah, really been, I've been pondering that, you know. Love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know, you know, do you do any ceremony around, you know, at the solstice or any other time of the year around honoring both, honoring the light, honoring the dark, and honoring the balance between both? Sending you all so much love and wishing you a week of balance and harmony and joy and connection to the earth and to the light. Aho, much love.